right now I'd like to introduce Lynn Davis, one of the board members, to talk a little bit about what's happening here. Lynn?
Wow, Tommy Brandt got me a little choked up, so I hope I can get through this. Good evening. As Kevin told you, my name is Lynn Davis, and I'm blessed to be one of the board members for the Options for Women, which serves Perry and St. John County and beyond. This journey has been different for each person whom God has called together for this purpose. All of you here are part of that journey. We come from all different backgrounds and different denominations. We come from various past experience with the pro-life culture. Over the years, some of us have spent time volunteering at birthrights, pregnancy centers, hosting VT dinners for life, attending annual March for Life events, and being prayer warriors outside abortion clinics, and so much more. All in preparation for God's plan. God's Center serves many purposes, not only as an alternative to abortion, but we support life needs beyond the womb with material necessities, parenting classes, spiritual support, and to encourage a break in patterns of repeated non-affirming life situations. God brought a variety of people along many different journeys, and He has merged us together for His purposes, for His will. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus, to do good works which God prepared in advance for us to do. Ephesians 2:10. He prepared in advance for our pregnancy center. He prepared in advance to bring us here this evening together. He prepared in advance this meal and Tommy Brandt and Gail McWilliams to be here in Bloomsdale, Missouri to share their stories with us. He prepared in advance for all to receive spirit and life, to experience love and hope, with a few scraped knees and a few broken bones along the way. It's His will that brought us here and merged our journeys together this evening. So I'm going to share with you, in a very special way, a journey about God's will. Many people came together to pray about what was God's will for families facing crisis situations and young mothers in our counties. At various churches, people were praying for God's will. Others had searched for God's will. Eventually, we were united together and had meetings for a couple of years, and we continued to pray for God's will. With one common heart, we came to serve and save lives for God's will. We've met, we've prayed, we've discussed and planned, all for God's will. Eventually, we formed a board of directors and began to create a strategic plan with a clearer focus and a direction for God's will. Many, many supporters continued to pray for God's will. We searched for a building to purchase. People with talents helped to guide us with opening a successful pregnancy center for God's will. God brought more people who could offer their talents. Talents in construction, painters, plumbers, electricians, all called together for God's will. Volunteers spent many months renovating the building to be just right for God's will. The Knights of Columbus helped us acquire an ultrasound machine for God's will. Preparation for His will began expanding as people who had been praying were now helping to clean, decorate, and furnish the center for God's will. We began to train volunteers, organize donated supplies, and prepare curriculum material that would be needed for the babies and the families that God was planning in advance to bring to His center. An executive director was hired according to God's will. A director who then took on the task of learning how to manage the pregnancy center and who would allow God to give her His words when the first call came. That call came sooner than we expected. We may not have felt we were ready, but God knew He was ready. It was God's will. While driving home after a long training in Jefferson City, her phone rang. God gave her his words and a heart to listen. A young mother, desperate for answers, pregnant and frightened, was calling out for help. This young mother came to the center, received love and a place to feel safe, for it was God's will. The director led her gently through many of her fears, and she chose life. God's will had led her to this center. Many people had been praying for this child. Before we had a building, people were praying. Before the baby was conceived, people were praying. Before the mother knew she was pregnant, people were praying. God brought all these pieces together, and then it happened. Last fall, a precious baby boy was born, and the parents named him Will. You see, all along this journey, as we search for God's will, God was preparing in advance for us to meet his precious little Will. So I leave you with this final thought from God's word for all the baby Wills to come to our center. From the day we heard of you, we did not cease praying for you and asking that you be filled with the knowledge of his will through all spiritual wisdom and understanding, and that you may live in a manner worthy of the Lord, so as to be pleasing in every good work, bearing fruit and growing in the knowledge of God. God's William. If you break down William, it means God's will, I am. And so are you. Thank you very much.
Any of you that know me know I'm the girl behind the scenes. That's really where I'm the most comfortable. But I'm here to tell you about something that I witnessed behind the scenes. I witnessed God's will. I answered my phone at 11:15 on a Saturday night, and I heard this little voice that said, "I'm calling in about an abortion." I pulled over to the side of the road because really I didn't think I was ready for this. I talked to her for a few minutes, calmed her fears, reassured her I would help her, and invited her to come in whenever she wanted. It was Saturday night. She came in Monday morning. Between Saturday night and Monday morning, we had a prayer chain because I wasn't sure I was ready. 8 o'clock Monday morning, we met for 4 hours. We walked through all of her choices, all of her options. This was a girl who was raised in church. She didn't really want to kill her baby. She just wanted a way out of this crisis. It did take 4 hours, but at the end, we were both crying, and she decided not to have an abortion. I worked with her for over a dozen times or more between February and August. 1st of August, she had decided to move to Chattanooga. She decided that she could not give this baby the life that she wanted him to have, and she had chosen parents for him. They lived there. They're relatives of hers, and she knew because they could not have children of their own, that they would love him. They had a plan. She asked me to travel with her, so I made the trip to Chattanooga. Thanks to my husband for taking me. I wasn't much for driving. I was there while she labored, and the nurses kept asking her little things, questions, what should we do? And she kept saying, it's their baby, ask them. To be quite honest, I wasn't sure she could finish this task. She had made several statements to me that indicated she really had an emotional attachment to this little guy. I was there when he came into this world. I watched the adoptive mother cut his cord, and she strained to see him, but she said not a word. They took the new family into another room, and I stayed behind with her grandmother, and she sobbed. And this nurse came out from nowhere, walked in and said, "I just want you to know how proud I am of you. My brother and I were adopted, and we were so grateful that our mother chose life for us." This entire hospital had witnessed this take place. No one knew what to say, because it never happened there before. But this nurse knew exactly what Bethany needed to hear. And she sobbed some more. And I'll tell you, she sobbed for days. But she didn't change her mind. Came back the next morning. She was changing her clothes. She was going to meet this baby. The nurse placed him in her arms. And she just looked at him. Her grandmother sat there with her, reassured her. And she stared at this little life, knowing that she would watch him from a distance as he grew. She did not choose his name. His adoptive parents chose his name. Soon he went back to the nursery, and she cried. But she didn't give up, and she didn't change her mind. She cried for days. I talked to her each time. She called me about a week later, said her grandmother had taken her to a place in North Carolina called Field of the Woods. 10 Commandments are on a hill there. And if everything has worked correctly, you'll see her on the screen. "Thou shalt not kill," right above her head. All of you who partner with us are part of that behind the scenes. Every time someone calls, every time we talk to someone, you're behind the scenes. It's not just girls who are in crisis pregnancies. We have this amazing group of guys that comes on Monday nights. Mark Renaud leads the class. Some guys didn't know how to be leaders in their families, and they come together on Monday nights. They keep coming every week, more and more. In fact, a group of them are here tonight helping us. It takes a team effort. You're all part of that team. And God's will was done.
Great things are happening. Amen? Amen? Roger, you should be able to answer this. You're Baptist like my dad. What kind of car did the apostles drive? Yeah, they all left in one accord. All right, I'm the comic relief, so you don't need the tissues. So laugh some. All right, there's a lot of ministers here. What were the last words spoken at the Last Supper? Anybody want to get in the picture? Get on this side of the table. If corn oil comes from corn, where does baby oil come from? Okay, enough of that. Gail McWilliams is a published author, seasoned speaker, and hosts her own national radio feature, Seeing Beyond with Gail McWilliams. Gail's reach is global. Her love is people, and her passion is its leaders. Her signature book, Seeing Beyond, with foreword by Zig Ziglar, has captured hearts around the world, leaving them wanting more. Gail speaks at corporations, conferences, and faith-based events. Some highlighted appearances include a guest on the Mike Huckabee Show, interviewed by Kirk Cameron, and a keynote speaker at Liberty University. She frequently speaks alongside top leaders, executives, governors, and senators from around the nation. Her international travelers include diverse engagements. She spoke recently to some ruling members of the parliament in Barcelona, Spain. She is a recipient of the first Hope for Life Award given by the Justice Foundation. And here's her story. You have some audio? Wait a second, who's doing the audio? Can you hear anything? Just give us a second. They're trying. Here we go.
When I was a young girl, the doctor said that I would probably never have any children. I had a childhood disease, which I got at 9 years of age. And so in my teens, a doctor felt like it was important for him to plot out my life. And with that verdict, he said I would never have any children. So when I married, imagine the pain of the conflict, because my husband and I wanted children. We knew they were gifts from the Lord, and we desired that very much. When I was born with 7 major complications, and the doctors were getting ready to write out my death certificate. For 21 days, we struggled to see if she would live or not. My parents went through so much, just fighting for my life, working with the doctors, encouraging them to even just feed me. Something happened in the course of the pregnancy with Anna. And later it became evident that this would be the pattern for all of the children. Because every time I was pregnant, my eyes would hemorrhage. And little by little, I would lose eyesight with each pregnancy. They could have just said, you know, that's it, we've gone through too much. We're gonna stop right now and we won't have any more children. So 3.5 years later, we were pregnant again. The doctors came in one day and said, you have to choose today between your baby or your eyes. I said, the choice is made. I choose my baby. We had the 3 older girls first, and what a joy. When I hear my mom's story, I am grateful to hear, first of all, that she chose life. And it's sobering to think that if she didn't choose me, she didn't choose the ones that were after me, which was Holly and Lydia and Connor.
You know what the worst part about being the third born is? You get blamed for everything. The best part about being the third born is you blame it on others.
I love music. I love to sing music. Music is my life. And then we had a 9-year gap, and God blessed us with 2 more children, Lydia and Connor. I always tell people their goodness and mercy because I figure they're going to follow us all the days of our life.
I like being part of a family that values life and values others.
Because my mom chose life, I have the opportunity to impact my generation.
Keep your lamps trimmed and burning, keep your lamps.
Part of the gifts that our family brings to the world that I think are unique is that the girls sing with me girls have made a CD, we've done TV, we've done radio.
Remind me of this with every decision.
God has used the crucible that Gail has gone through specifically to create a life message that seems to be impacting people and transforming them for the glory of God.
Purpose, design,
Potential.
Value.
Destiny.
Life is the gift.
when I look at my children, I don't just see my children, I see generations yet to come. I am a woman of hope. I do see a lot more than maybe the average person because I choose to see what's of great value. I find that every day I'm in a position where I choose life.
Good evening. It's so great to be back in Missouri. I'm a Missouri girl. I grew up in St. Louis. I was born in Rolla. And of course, I'm still a Cardinals fan. What can I say? I'd like to introduce you to not only my best friend, but my husband, Tony McWilliams. We've been married for 37 years. We got married on the most romantic day of the year. I'm sure you could guess what that would be. No, actually it was April 15th, income tax day.
Yesterday.
What a taxing marriage, right? Not long ago, in fact it was last year, I was on a television interview show that went around the world multiple times. It was re-aired several times, and I had just come off the road, and I always call to check on my parents to see how they're doing. They're in their 80s. And so when I called Mom and Dad, I said, hey, how are you doing? You know, we just flew in, and this is what happened on this trip. And my dad said, well, you're part of a big scandal in Dallas. I said, what? He said, yeah, you're part of a big scandal. They showed that TV show, and when you were talking about the kids and telling the story, they put up a picture of you and Albert Pujols. And everybody thinks you're Albert's mom. That boy hasn't sent this mother any tickets yet. In fact, I did have the opportunity to tell him that I'm from St. Louis and we're still really mad at him. No kidding. But what a nice guy. I was grateful for the Midwest. I not only grew up in the Midwest, but this is where I learned how to speak. And then I moved to Dallas, Texas in 2000, and I learned how to talk. And there's a difference. I learned words I'd never known before, like I ain't, can't, and fixin'. My kids were so excited when I started talking about fixin' because they thought it was dinner. No, I was fixing them, getting out of there myself. Dallas, what a place. You mash buttons, you push your buggy down to Piggly Wiggly, and everybody's Bubba. It's perfect. He's married to Bubette, and they have little bubbies everywhere. But one day I was challenged by a man, true story, and he said to me, well, when are you going to learn how to talk true Texan? I said, well, what would that be? He said, big O. Park your big O truck and that big O tree, we'll have big O time. And that's what we're hoping to do here tonight. We've had incredible music. Tommy, you were great. I enjoyed it. Incredible friends in this place, a community of so many different counties, and I agree with what was said earlier. There's no place like the life issue when everybody comes together. No matter our beliefs, no matter our denominations, no matter where we live, to make a stand in this world, enough is enough. What can we do to help? To be here tonight, not only with friends that I haven't seen forever, I was shocked to see some of them that were at the back door or the front door, or whatever door I came in, and then to see family that are here and cousins and those who have come from so far. Thank you so much. My heart tonight is not only that you will be encouraged, but that your vision will be enlarged. The story is true. It was actually in St. Louis at a very famous hospital. I had gone for some different tests. The doctor had seen something in my eyes that he was suspicious of and asked me to submit myself to some eye tests that took place all day long. I was exhausted by the end of the day. And by the way, I was nearly 4 months pregnant with our second child. At the end of that long day, I was seated in a room waiting for the doctor to come in. And when he came in, he said, "Gail, you have to choose today between your baby or your eyes." I said, "The choice is made. I choose my baby." And the doctor stood up, slammed shut my folder, and said, "What a foolish decision." And he left the room. When I sat alone that day, I had no idea the impact. I had no idea the consequences. I just knew that I knew that life was the better choice. I also knew amazingly, I remembered something that someone had shared with me when I was a young girl. And it was about choices as well. And it was the verse that said, "I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Choose life, that you and your descendants might live." What's really cool about this story, the daughter I carried that day is our only married daughter so far. And she and her husband have given to us 3 incredible grandchildren. You know what's amazing? The statement is true and the promise fulfilled. Choose life that you and your descendants might live. You might be saying tonight, you know, I love to come to these every year. I like to see old friends. I believe in life. And you come. And I'm grateful that you come. But ladies and gentlemen, how long for this to continue on? It's nearly up to 60 million slaughtered children. And I think sometimes it's hard for us to wrap our heads around that. What does that look like? Basically, it looks like the United States without the state of Missouri and without the state of Texas. What a big loss. And sometimes we just go on. We don't think about it much until a banquet like this or a concert like tomorrow night brings it to our awareness. And if there's one thing I can challenge you, I speak all around the nation. I speak from corporations to faith-based and everything in between. From leadership meetings to conferences to major names, international travel. But this is my heartthrob for the nonprofit, for the organization that I believe makes such a difference on the front lines, and that's to stand up for life. People think it's about a women's crisis. No, it isn't. It's about a national crisis. This is not just a woman's issue. Oh, the woman may bear the brunt of having to make the final decision in some cases, but in other cases, she's coerced to abort her child. The termination, I wish I could tell you that's a pleasant thing, that she just takes a pill and suddenly the baby's gone. No, we're talking about suffocation. We're talking about mutilation. We're talking about acid burns. We're talking about the worst thing. You would have a fit if your animal dog, let alone your herd of cattle or anything else, were treated in that way. And yet we let it continue on. This is the modern Holocaust. And if we're not careful, we're just like the people of old, when the trains in the Holocaust, when all those people were being taken, the Jewish people were being taken to the concentration camps, to go into the gas chambers. They would go by tracks that were close to churches. The churches would hear the cries of the people, desperate cries. And as all the church would do is sing louder. Isn't it time we not sing any louder and make a difference? Yeah. And you may say, well, St. Genevieve, what are we, a little spot? Are you kidding? You have the world's attention. The oldest city west of the Mississippi, is this correct? Yeah. People come here to tour to do what? Let me tell you something, you're about something else. You've been strategically positioned in this hour. You're next to the Mississippi. 2 states, you're at the gate of this state to make a difference. You're not just a center and, oh, this would be a good thing to do. No, you've been strategically positioned to make a difference. Can I ask you, what does a life cost? I read recently that when you dispose of a body, when you talk about all the minerals of the body, when everything has been decomposed, it's not very much. At one time it was like $5, I think. Because of inflation, we might be up to $15 or something. It's not too much, but then, wait a minute, you add to that oxygen? You add to that the brain? Oh my goodness, it goes up in a huge amount. I don't know the exact number, but it's huge. But then think about it, add to that destiny, potential, and purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, you have value. And if the truth be known, if we continue to take the innocent who have no ability to speak for themselves, it's like out of sight, out of blind. Talk about blindness. That's blindness. Choosing not to see. Who will be their voice? Who will make a difference? Who will be there? And you may say, well, yes, I'd like to see this organization go forward, but, there's only so much I can do. Really? Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this evening is all we're asking you to do is possibly write a check or maybe a monthly donation from your account automatically into theirs. Or to give a gift tonight or something like land or something that could be turned around to help this center. When I talk to you about that, I'm just talking about a mere gift. For me, it costs me everything. It costs my eyesight. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. Because one thing I have found out, in fact, maybe a couple of things if I can share with you. One, life has great value. Two, who said it's all about me anyway? What if it was just a vessel for the next generation to be impacted by those 5 children that the doctor said we'd never have? Or what if it's really about the grandchildren? I'm often asked, why would you do it? Why would you have children? And I really believe what I'm being asked is, how did you choose between convenience and legacy? Legacy wins hands down every time in my book. Legacy, it's about what you're a part of now that will make a difference in the days to come. I was standing at the airport the other day and I was making just casual conversation with a man, and I just said, so what do you do with your life? And he said, you mean what do I do? I said, no, what do you do with your life? And he said, ma'am, I've never been asked anything that deep. And I said, I can wait. Ask you the same thing, what are you going to do with your life? Is it just about working really hard so you don't feel good anymore, you're forced into retirement, or you choose to retire? And then what? Are you just surviving, or are you making a difference in your generation? And you say, but you don't know what I do. You don't know, you don't know my background. You don't know my details. You don't know what I've been through. All of us have a story in this room. And all of us have a limited amount of time to make a difference. In fact, Solomon talked about our lives as being just vapor. It's here and then it's gone. But your life has great value. You've been strategically positioned somewhere. And in fact, the center has, as I said before, on the banks of the Mississippi, between 2 states, to make a difference as people are looking for help. Maybe they're looking for instruction, and kudos to the men's program that continues to grow. If there's something America needs, it's somebody to teach our men how to be fathers. A fatherless society, yes, this is worth applauding, indeed. Don't underestimate who you get to mentor. And you may say to me, but you don't know the obstacles I'm going through. You've got to be kidding. You're going to talk to me about obstacles? Hey, I've walked out with the wrong man before. I've gotten in the wrong car. I've corrected the wrong children in front of their parents. I've talked to people that aren't even there. I've reached out to hug people and I've gotten the wrong body parts before. That is awkward. But I keep reaching, I don't give up. Not long ago, I was headed to Wisconsin, and I was standing at the gate at the airport. We travel all the time. And so I turned to my husband, and before we were going to board the plane, and I just said to him, the story, and I began to talk away, not knowing that he had walked away to the ticket counter to take care of our tickets. So I'm just talking to him, talking away. And finally, a man on the other side of me said, ma'am, who are you talking to? I just turned to him and I said, oh, I speak for a living, I'm just practicing. We are on the front lines of something. And we are in a world that's just gone nuts. They call evil good and good evil. Who will be the anchor point? And who will be the salt to show up and be the seasoning for a tasteless culture? And who will be the light to make a difference in a dark place? You may say, I can't. Are you really telling me that, or you won't? Because you can make a difference. You know people I don't know. I know people you don't know. But if all of us take our rightful place where we've been positioned, if we just pushed a little bit more beyond what is comfortable, what could be done? Don't you think that even here in this county, in this place, that it could be a ripple effect across your state, and in fact across the nation? I do. And in the middle of loving life, can you have joy? Yes. The other day I had to go get my ID updated in Texas. And so I suggested to my husband, let's go to this small little town. They have this center. It'll be easy to get in and out because most people won't be there. It's just a small little town, and we could have lunch and enjoy the day together. He thought it was great, so we went, and sure enough, everyone in line I made friends with before it was all over. By the time I got up to the counter, I laid down my ID, and I was met by one of those grumpy government agents. You ever known one? So she was not in a good mood, and I just set my ID down, and I said, my name's Gail McWilliams, and I'm here to update my ID, and if there's any kind of forms I need to fill out, my husband is here, and he'll help me. And she just sort of barked at me like, oh, okay. And I said, oh, and by the way, I need to apologize. It might have been expired for a while. And she just leaned in real fast and she said, how would you even know? Well, I just leaned back and I said, well, the other day when the cops pulled me over. She laughed real big and I had her friend before it was over. You know what I think? I think there's a lot of people who think they know what they believe. No, they don't. I don't think anyone's really been challenged. And I'm not talking about the challenge that comes after their throat and you're yelling and screaming. That's not a conversation. I'm talking about life itself and engaging in winning hearts so that you'll have their attention. One thing that I know for sure is I have a story that's irrefutable. Nobody can tell me that it costs a lot for life. I get that. Nobody can tell me that in a crisis people do dumb things. I get that also. Because they don't know where to go. It's not really a dumb thing, it's an uninformed thing. And here we are with centers and people like yourselves. I love so much what Lauren said. She talked about a person where this isn't her thing to talk with people in front of the crowd, but it sure is behind the scenes. And I hope you understood her theme, because that's where we all are. Doesn't matter where we're positioned, as long as the job gets done. And what's the job? To begin to stand up and to let people know life is worth the cost, no matter what it takes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an incredible hour in which we're living. But the amazing thing is, anybody could have this time in history. They don't, it's you. So if it's you, let us show up. Recently, I was speaking in Louisiana. It was my first football stadium. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. And as I was being escorted out to the field by my husband, he handed me the mic. I was the keynote for this event. And as I was standing there, I asked him right before he left, I said, where am I standing? He said, the 50-yard line. And it came to me just like that, like, oh, perfect. So I greeted the people, and then I said, I find it interesting and profound that where I stand today is where most people live, the 50-yard line. They're afraid to move forward. They're paralyzed by the fear and the struggles of yesterday. There they stand between two goals, halted between two opinions. One goal represents a loss, the other, a victory. And there they stand, not sure what to do. And in the course of standing there, wishing somebody else would come along and play this game of life in their behalf. And after a while, they're content to just mosey off the field and sit in the grandstands and watch everyone else play the game. And I want to say to you what I told them that day. What would it take for you to get back on the field of life and play it with all your might? If the truth be known in this room, some of you have not only been overwhelmed by what's going on in our nation, you're overwhelmed about your own life. And I'm here today to remind you, you have value. You've been positioned in a place that nobody else has been given. What you're doing today is in preparation for what's coming next. To every political person today who has an elected office, serve well. You've been given an opportunity to make a difference. For every father, for every mother in this place, you have the ability to groom the next generation. For every teacher, the effort that you have put forth is modeling and molding that next generation. Name any kind of profession in this room. To you precious Knights of Columbus, you've done so much, not only across the state, but across this nation. I've seen the results of your hands and your generosity. This is a different ballgame when somebody can see a child within. Before it was like out of sight, out of mind. But now to be able to see a child, for there to be that possibility of bonding. Listen to me, this is a good day, but this isn't a time to drop the ball. Let's continue on, and let's go beyond what we've ever done before. And one thing I'm convinced of, that if we will get out of our own comfortable zone and do something bigger than we've ever been part of, we can do it as a team. When we look at tonight and what's needed, it's $100,000. You may say, whoa, I don't have that in my back pocket tonight. No, but think about it. What if we all team together? It's a piece of cake. This would be nothing. You break it down into monthly pledges in addition to a generous offering tonight. You know what? This thing is done and over with, and in fact, we can help them go over the top. Why wouldn't we? This is your county. This is your community. But more than that, this is your season. I pray that we will have an answer when our kids turn to us and say, where were you? What did you do? Did you stand up or did you just sing louder as people were on their way to be slaughtered? Ladies and gentlemen, I plead with you. This is a day to think about more than just yourself and your own agenda. I am often asked many questions. A lot of times people ask me, Gail, how can you have so much joy and you can't see? I ask them, how can you see and have no joy? Believe me, I'm your best friend. You guys look great. You look younger. You look thinner. You look fit to run the race that's been set before us. And together as a team tonight, we can make a difference. I'm asking you, just show up. Show up. And wow, one victory after another victory will eventually become a championship. And I look forward to that day when the trophy, and we'll get to lay it at the feet of Jesus Christ himself and say, thank you. Thank you for your grace. It was worth it all. Thank you for purpose. And thank you for vision. Ladies and gentlemen, for some of you, you've been living life based only on what you see. Don't do that anymore. That's limited and definitely discouraging. But you know what? When you live life with vision, oh, hey, the sky's the limit. I have a few more stories that I definitely want to tell you. I believe it will be a personal encouragement to you. But right now, what I'd like to do is let's take care of why we came together tonight. Oh, the dinner was great, by the way. I'm the connoisseur of any kind of chicken dinner, I will tell you that, around the nation. But this meal was incredible, and you are blessed. And we're grateful for it. But this is about more than just a meal, and you know that. It's about a community effort to make a difference. And let's see them go over the top. I'm wondering if my husband might come join me right now. You know, I could read the information to you, but I just choose not to read tonight. I don't know. That's just... Anyway, we'll work together as a team. But the incredible thing is it's so easy to be part of it. So let's just talk practically for a moment before Tony leads you through what needs to happen, and if all the table hosts and hostesses will get ready to be able to distribute the literature on your table and take care of why we've come together. Here's the tendency, and listen to me close. The tendency is to hope somebody next to you is going to take care of your part. I mean, if you have enough chutzpah, turn and look at them and say, hey, do you mind just doing double tonight? Take care of my part. And yet that's how we live, right? Why not you step up to the plate and let other people follow you? I know this. I have a really close friend in Minnesota. His name's Gary. And he farms about 3,000 acres. And I was just talking to Gary last night. And I asked him, I said, so what do you think this year? And he was telling me about the ground and tilling the ground. And I said, tell me about the seed. He said, one of the things about the seed, it's life-giving. That's good news. That's how y'all got here, was a seed. Planted in someone's womb. And thank God you're here. But he said the seed's perpetual. The seed has life. And I said, Gary, does a farmer ever go out in the field going, oh, you know, it doesn't matter. I might throw a few seed here and go back home and just do my own thing and hope for a bumper crop. And he said, no way. He said, we're out there all the time, toiling, cultivating the field, putting seed in the ground. Now, we may not know the total that's going to come in from all of our efforts until the end of the season, until the end of the harvest. And I want to tell you, the end of the harvest for this generation, it's going to go pretty fast if we start killing off each other. And if we begin to devalue life even more than we are now. So anything that you give tonight, yes, indeed, it is seed. And for goodness sakes, don't think, well, I'm just going to throw it in and just, actually, if I can just tell you a pet peeve, it really ticks me off when people just throw money towards an organization. Why not plant it? Why not invest it? And if I can challenge you, why not take this year and just see what could happen in your life as you begin to think of other people, you begin to be generous. I wonder if an overflow could come to you for even more seed in the days to come. In Redding, California, not long ago, at a very popular coffee shop with a drive-thru, for over 4 hours, people paid forward or paid in arrears for someone following them as they came through the drive-thru. Do you know what I'm talking about? Someone would get their order, but it was already paid for. And they said, well, hey, let me pay for the guy behind me. For over 4 hours, they did that. In Abilene, Texas, not long ago, a man walked in to Chick-fil-A, and he put down $1,000, and he said, take it as far as you can, paying for as many people as you can through the drive-thru. A man that didn't even know those people, and yet invested something that made a difference that they're still talking about. It doesn't take much to encourage people, and it sure doesn't take much to be part of an answer, and that's what we're looking for tonight. So I'm going to ask you, don't just look at your plate, go, oh, well, somebody else paid for it, and it's probably about $20 worth, so maybe I'll put in $21. No, this is what I'd like you to really consider. It's the monthly pledges here that keep the foundation strong. They keep them constant, where every day they know what they can expect and they can run their budgets. But it's the big gifts, the extra gifts, whatever your gift is tonight, that helps them go over the top and gives them that kickstart, that B12 shot, to get on down the road to do even more. And so in a room like this, if you break it down to several $50 a month gifts, several $25, several $75, some of you $100 a month, just try it for 1 year. See now not only the blessing can be here for this center, but for yourself. Some of you tonight, you've been waiting for this. You have thousands of dollars to give. Don't hold back. Don't hold back. Why would you hold back? This is the hour to make a difference. Some of you have other things that you want to give. We're excited and we're grateful for that. But ladies and gentlemen, my point is this: many hands make light work. So Tony, would you please tell them specifically what to do? And then I want to finish up with 2 more stories and send you on your way.
Gail and I are so glad to be here tonight, and I do want to now get all of the table hosts mobilized. Would you please take an initiative just now and just make sure everybody's got the appropriate forms in hand? And as I look around, I know many of you have already filled it in. You have come ready to go to work. So anyway, just make sure everybody has got information in their hand, this particular flyer, which says at the top, having options, choosing life. And we're going to ask you, will you please fill it in thoroughly? Make your gift tonight, write that number on that top line, and then there's a 90-day pledge category right below that, and then a monthly gift category. So please fill those in, and make sure that there is as generous as you can be. And then, of course, the details of administrating this is appropriate, because you need to make sure that you tell what payment method you're going to give, cash, check, ACH, or credit card. And then, because I know this organization wants to stay in touch with you, they need your address, your phone number, your email address, and they'll keep you informed of the things that are transpiring here in this great county and in this region. And then also there's the ACH section. If you're having them transfer money out of your account, fill that in thoroughly. And then below is the MasterCard section for putting your MasterCard number. And then finally, a place for you to sign off, to put your signature behind what you're committing to. And now that the lights have turned on, I've had to let my wife know that the lights just now turned on.
Oh, here this.
So we're ready to go now.
Well, before you were in my world, how'd it feel? So now you have the lights, and now you know what you can do. Tony, just help me work this out, because you're better at math than I am. So if 100,000 is needed tonight, let's say we take 100 people, 100 giving units in the place. And we break that down. 1,000 divided by 12 would be?
860 something.
Not 8. Well, it'd be like 83 or something a month.
Okay.
83 a month.
Okay.
And then you take that plus a gift. And on top of that, that's just 100 people. That's just a third of the crowd. But what if we broke it down and people could really think of it? Businesses, churches here tonight. If you would be part of the 50 and the 100 club and the 150 and 200 a month, what a difference. And then again, a generous gift tonight. Thank you so much. So while we wait for a moment, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Gail and I, this is Gail's 78th fundraising event for a pro-life group like yourself. These people on the front lines, we love rubbing shoulders with committed people like these. We are better people for it, and we're glad that we're able to be a part of this great effort here in this part of Missouri.
I want to ask something quick. Forgive me, Lauren, I didn't ask you ahead of time. Wait, guys in Missouri, don't you get like extra benefits when you give? What is that? You get tax credit. Let's talk about this for a minute. Tax credit? I'm moving back to Missouri, I guess. You what? Speak up. You're going to talk about it? Okay, good. But why wouldn't we talk about it now? Might encourage them to give more? Come on, Elaine, hurry up.
Here comes Elaine.
This is amazing. I don't. Is there any other state besides Missouri that does this?
I don't think so.
Okay, tell him.
I think this is so exciting. I am so excited! Woo! Yes.
Tell them how it works.
We have. Okay. Many of you have seen the form that, Melissa, are you up there ready for this? Mm-hmm. So many of you have seen this form that comes out to you, and it's called the application for claiming tax credits. You've seen this form come to you, and I know that many of you get this form in the mail and you go, what is that? Okay. And you honestly don't know what to do with it. Do I sign it and send it back or not? All right, so many of you I know can take advantage of this, and you are not. And I know Pastor Joe is one of them. Where are you, Pastor Joe? You need to be using this credit. So my goal tonight is to convince you this is a good thing for you. Okay, the minimum that you donate for this credit is $100, but the maximum in a calendar year, or I'm sorry, in a fiscal year, is $50,000. Now, okay, we have a mortgage that's just a little bit under $50,000. So you want to write that check out right now? You just go right ahead.
There you go.
All right, and then you've got 50% of that will go toward a tax credit. And I want to tell you about this tax credit because it's awesome. All right, 50%. If you give $100, $50 comes. I mean, it's $1 per dollar off of your tax liability. Everybody know what a tax liability is here? All right? That's like, for example, what's up there, Melissa? Do we have anything up there yet? Okay, put up, first thing, put up that PREGAPP. Because that way you can see what I'm talking about. Is it up there? Okay, that's the document that you're going to get in the mail from us sometime after this banquet, or because it's on a fiscal year, you might get it at the end of the calendar year, okay? Thank you very much, legislation, for putting this on a fiscal year basis. But, you know, that's the way it is, and that's okay. We want to make this as easy for you, the donor and the taxpayer, as we possibly can. So we're going to send you that application that looks just like that, highlight what you need to fill out, you send it back to us, because the state has to get that document from us. They can't get it from you, they have to get it from us, okay? We attach the proof of, you have to have proof of, you know, your donation. We do all that work for you. We cannot make this any easier for you, because we care for you. We want to make it as easy as we can for you to take advantage of this, okay? So, hold on one second. So we attach the donation, mail it to the state. The state will process your claim and send you a letter, and that's what you use to claim on your tax return. Awesome. So it's just awesome. It's an awesome, awesome credit. You need to take advantage of it. Okay, Pastor Joe, you're going to do it, right? All right.
Let me go
Can I? All right, yes, there you go.
Kevin.
Thank you.
Let me go
Thank
into a
you.
little more detail. You give $1,000.
Go for it, man.
You get $500 straight back.
Cool.
If you were in a 34% federal tax bracket, you get $340 back from the federal government. Everybody in this room is in a 6% state tax, so you get $60 back from the state. So you add that all up, and if you're in a 28% tax bracket, you get 6% state, that'd be 34. You get almost all your money back. So you're able to give $1,000 and it costs you $1.12.
Oh my word.
$1.12. So to give $1,000, it costs you $112. So it's 12%, depending upon what bracket you're in. If you're in the lower tax bracket, but it's at least 70% of your money back. So it enables you to give a little bit more than you normally would. But some people are in a 36% tax bracket and a 6% state. They get 42 plus the 50, so they get 92 cents on the dollar back from the state on the gift. That is very good. And, you know, complicate things one more, if you have any appreciated stock, say you bought mutual funds 25 years ago, or Walmart, not only do you not have to pay taxes on the gain, the 20% taxes on the gain, you get the whole deduction. The organization here gets the whole deduction, and you get to take all that off and get from 70 to 92% of the money back. So you didn't pay the 20% gain, and you get 70 to 92% back. So if anybody's got a question about that, you can see me afterwards. But we've made these available to you from the state of Missouri to encourage these programs. Use them. If you're given $100 or $150 and you're not using tax credits, you could give $1,000 and have the same net effect. If you're thinking about giving $250, you give $2,000 and have the same amount of money out of your pocket after taxes. So it's very effective. If you've got questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for Elaine for going over that like before we give, because I think that's an important part. Missouri, here's the bottom line. There's nobody like Missourians to give in a big old way, because you get a lot back, and I'll tell you, we don't have that in Texas. So really, this is a piece of cake tonight, and every technical question, indeed, you should ask Kevin at the end of it. But this is what I know. It's a good deal. It's a great cause, and it will not only benefit you, but your state has made it possible so that centers like this can thrive. And kudos to Missouri. I knew there was something cool about being from the Show Me State, indeed. So thank you so much. So let's take a little bit of time. That might have adjusted some of your giving, and if not, listen, you can always give more even after tonight. In fact, I think a seed is perpetual. So thank you so much. Tony, be my eyes. Are they still writing?
No, I think everybody's ready.
Okay.
Ready to hear more from you.
So this is what I'd like you to do. Please pass that on to your table host or hostess. For some of you, that if you have to get some account settled or whatever it is that you need to do, they will receive money long after tonight as well. But let's help them go over the top indeed. I love you, Missouri. I hear that your state is in full bloom. I'm eager to see what will happen. This state has caused me great grief this year to see the national exposure of something that's just been absolutely incomprehensible. And all of the nation is looking at Missouri right now. But I want to say to you, it's people like you that make a difference, that turn it around and show the true grit. And really, there's a lot more good than bad that's taking place. So as you pass those in, can I just encourage you personally for a moment? Table hosts and hostesses, I will say this to you. Please, after you've collected everyone's, would you please just lift up the envelope, and there'll be somebody else coming around to pick up your envelope tonight. As Tony said, I get to travel around the nation. This is my favorite nonprofit to be part of, to help them. But it's more than that. Life is not only good, it's not only right, but it can be fun if you fully understand who you are and where you've been called to be. But some of you tonight, you're probably saying, but you don't get it. I feel stuck. I know. When people feel stuck, they feel like they're a dead end. Maybe this story will help you. Years ago, a friend called me and she said, Gil, I want to give you a gift. Oh, I was so excited. Because I thought it was going to be perfume or something. I love gifts. Instead, she said, I want to take you to the movies. Okay, now I thought, the movies? I literally moved the phone from my ear, looked skyward, said, God, are these the only friends you could bring me? But anyway, she heard my hesitancy and she said, oh no, you'll love it. This'll be fun. I said, okay. So she picked me up and we went to the movies, and she told me on the way, there was great dialogue and I would be able to figure out the story really well. Not only was it great dialogue, it was moving dialogue, and I cried nearly all the way through the movie. And so when the movie was all over, I was just sitting there for a moment, trying to get myself back together. I couldn't stop the tears from coming. So finally I stood up and I made my way down the row by myself, but when I got to the aisle, I reached out for my friend, and we walked arm in arm, neither one of us talking. We both were blowing our nose and trying to get over it. And finally we got to the top of the aisle, stepped out in the corridor, and I moved over to the side, and just like, my friend, I didn't want to go on. I just wanted to pull myself together. And my friend leaned in and she said, I need to go to the restroom, do you? I said, no, that's okay, you go on. She said, are you sure? Yeah, go on, I'll be fine. So she left, and I was sort of glad to have the space by myself. And I stood there for a while, and then after many moments, my friend hadn't come back, and by that time, I was feeling a little bit better and ready to get on with the day. But I perceived I might be in the way of people moving back and forth in front of me. Though I couldn't see their face very well, I knew they were there. So I stepped back 2 big steps, and I stepped over 2 big steps to get out of the way. I was just standing there and still no friend. So I thought, I'll just pretend like I work here and I'll greet everyone. Hello, I said in front of me. Hey, how you doing? Looked over there. Hi, have a good day. I just kept greeting everyone. Finally, my friend came back and she said, Gail, what are you doing? You're standing in the men's restroom. Even Walmart used to have greeters. I made a lot of men happy that day. Talk about a memory. Okay, so I was stuck. I didn't know where I was supposed to be, but I made the most of it. I showed up. A lot of people say to me, oh, honey, I've walked into the wrong restroom before. Yeah, but you didn't stay most of the day and greet everybody. I didn't know where I was supposed to be, and maybe that's you tonight. You don't know where you're supposed to be. Well, I'm glad you showed up here, because that's a big first step. To be part of something bigger than yourself, wow, that's even a bigger step still. And then to remind you, no, you're not stuck. You've been positioned for this hour. I'm sort of excited this morning, just this morning, my new manuscript for a book called Stuck or Positioned was sent to the publisher. I'm so excited. In the summer it will be out, and in fact, there's some people in this room, Donald and Patty, you're in my new book. Stories from all around the nation, people I know, and other different stories of history, as well as moving stories that will help us get off dead center to understand our life has value. And ladies and gentlemen, if our life has value, then why wouldn't we fight for other lives that have incredible value in the days to come? Thank you for your generosity. Take a moment, just say with me, I'm not stuck. Oh, come on, Missouri. I'm not stuck. I've been positioned.
I've been positioned.
Turn to your neighbor and say, you're not stuck.
You're not stuck.
You've been positioned. And you have, and I'm grateful. Let me just tell you this real fast. I'll be at the back. The only book I brought for this trip is our signature story called Seeing Beyond. Zig Ziglar did the foreword to it. It will tell you more of our story. It'll make you laugh and cry, and it's a great Mother's Day gift too. But the point of the story is we have it in audio or in a book. But I'd love to sign your books tonight, hug your neck, and thank you so much in person for who you are and the difference that you make in this generation. So I say to each of you tonight, may the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. May he grant you according to your heart's desire and fulfill all your purpose. May he give you increase more and more to you and your children. And may he do exceedingly abundantly above all that you could ask or think, according to the power that works within you. In Jesus' name. God bless you guys.
We're going to go back this other way.
Thank you, Gail. A standing ovation. I know it's tough to. Very good. Excellent. All right. It's been a great night. I see some of you were having a little wine with dinner, so I wanted to remind you that alcohol and calculus don't mix. You never drink and derive. Drink and derive. Is there any math people out there? Drink and derive. Did you hear that Ford announced a huge recall of their late model Mercurys? Yeah, they found traces of tuna in them. All right, what we're going to do now is going to have a benediction, and then we're going to get Tommy to come back up and play a last song. Pastor Joe, would you come forward and offer blessing?
Pastor Joe is the man who started praying for this center, praying for God's will 20 years ago. The little boy on the front of your program is Will. It's the first baby saved through our efforts as a team.
Thanks, guys.
You know, I love one-liners, and I have to tell you one-liner that I have. You know what they call the devil in Arkansas? Beelzebubba. Beelzebubba.
Oh. Yeah, mine look better now, don't they?
I actually had my cell phone out, and I was trying to find a one-liner politician joke.
I didn't know they were going to grade on a curve, but I'm okay.
You know, the Bible says that when the enemy comes in like a flood, God will raise up a standard. And that standard is in this room this evening to rise up against the killing of the unborn. And I thank God tonight that Perry County and St. Genevieve County decided not to sing a little louder, but to make a stand for life. And so I want to close in prayer, just a prayer of thanksgiving. Lord God, we thank you for everyone in here that has given to take a stand for life, Lord. And God, I just pray a blessing for everyone that has given here, every business that has contributed, everyone who's volunteered to make this evening possible, God. I pray a blessing upon them. Lord, you said if we shall give, we shall receive, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so, Lord, I ask a blessing upon everyone in this room that has given so freely to stand against abortion in our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
Once again, thanks for coming. When you're leaving, give your name badges back there so we don't have to reproduce those. 50-50, somebody have the number for the 50-50 drawing? Could you either bring that forward or you want to bring that forward? They're going to pull one. Just dramatic pause, or they're going to bring it forward. All right. Also, tickets for tomorrow night's concert are in back, as well as the book, and she'll be happy to autograph those. Are they going to bring that up, or what are we going to do? Are you going to draw it Saturday night, like the lottery?
Hey, while you're waiting, I got one for you to take with you.
All right.
What was the last sound heard? The last sound heard before the door closed on Noah's Ark?
What? I heard she was a Cardinal fan. Do you know that God was a big baseball fan? All you got to do is read the Old Testament, and that starts off in the beginning. The beginning. Okay, we're going to start dancing pretty quick here. Okay, always remember this. You are unique, just like everybody else. Draw. Ready? How much is it?
Total of 765, so half of that.
Half of 765, whatever that is. 468-454. 468-454. 468-454. 468-454. Come on. If you bought one of these, look at it, please. 468-454. Going once. 468-454. Did we find it? Back here. Thank you so much. Come see them and get your money. Well, you could donate it. Here we go. Thank you. Thanks so much. Bring us home.
Here's a song I think everybody knows. Come on and sing with us. With some glad morning when this life is old, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. Come on, sing it loud. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by. Somebody say, now when the shadows of this life have gone, I'll fly away like a bird from prison bars has flown. I'll fly away. Well, I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. How much you enjoyed it tonight. I feel like I'm back on the cruise ship again. With just a few more weary days